welcome to Last Call Reviews. I think the last time we reviewed something was like a year ago.
I forgot the name.
yeah, Last Call.
The videos.
I think the last thing we did was like Mad Max, Fury Road,
and
Ex Machina.
Yeah, My Girlfriend's a Robot.
Yeah, and that was like, God, March?
Last summer?
Yeah, or something.
Beginning, I think.
The reason basically is that we saw a lot of movies and we were going to do reviews.
We actually haven't talked in like 6 months. Yeah. We had a falling out.
We realized to get back together over this monumental achievement in filmmaking by Zack Snyder.
Yes.
The auteur of the new 2000s.
Tour of this weekend.
Yeah. So, okay. Let me break this down. We're going to review the movie, Batman v Superman, yes. V for Vaginas.
Dawn of
Justin Bieber.
Timberlake.
And we're going to... Oh, yours was better.
Yeah.
Damn it. And we're going to... No, if he was in this?
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, if he was Lex Luthor.
Yeah, no, if he played like Sean Parker.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Come here, bitches.
Yeah.
But we're going to view the movie, and then we're going to do a spoiler talk after. Now, I'll say this. I don't really think there's spoilers for this movie.
Yeah, I don't... I'm almost wondering if the spoiler video is even necessary.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
We can just do the same video if we want.
No, okay. If you're afraid of spoilers, if you're sensitive, but I'll say this: if you've seen the trailers, you know what's going to happen in this movie. Like, if you had any theories what this was going to happen in this, it does.
Yeah. This
might be one of the most like cliche, predictable films I've seen in a couple years in that way. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you're not going to be surprised by plot twists in this movie. So I guess we'll just go into the full review.
I'm just going to get it off the bat right away. It's the best comic movie I've ever seen. No. I mean, I have my doubts, but holy shit, Zack nailed it.
Well, Man of Steel was disappointing, and that's like, he came back with this, Chris Terrio did the script, you get Ben Affleck, I mean, it's like a 10.
Yeah.
I mean, this is better than Dark Knight.
Henry Cavill, like, I'm not joking, like, I'm glad that, I don't even remember his name. I'm glad the original guy's fucking dead.
No, like, fuck Nolan, fuck Bale, fuck Christopher Reeve.
Yeah,
like,
Chris Reeves, yeah.
Yeah, Schneider, Affleck, Cavill. I mean, that is it. This is the new dream team. Dude, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor?
I ripped my copy of Scrooged up.
No, I mean, it was... Like, all the critics are talking shit about this, and they just wanted it to be a Marvel film, they just wanted it to be funny. Yeah. They can't handle being dark and serious and operatic and beautiful.
I mean, Lex Luthor is Alexander Luthor, his son, is the most complex villain I've seen since Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, it's been a while. No, I mean, it's kind of hard to review because it's like when you just praise a movie one scene after another.
How do you review the Mona Lisa?
That's the thing. Yeah, it's funny, because I was going to do that, too. I was going to suggest that before we started. I said, hey, how about we talk like those dumb fanboys on forums? And then you just started doing it. And I thought, okay.
That's usually how it goes if someone wants to suggest something, I'm already in it.
I mean, I'm assuming you're guessing we're lying, but,
I think it's time you leave, and I'm already in her.
We just raped the audience with this review.
YouTube might take this down. I don't know if you're allowed to make rape jokes anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, hey, this movie raped some of my time, so I feel it's fair and justified. If Batman could just go kill people without giving a shit, I can make rape jokes in my review. If Batman could just kill the shit out of people.
No, it's really because, like I said just a minute ago, if it would have shown Batman in the Batmobile laughing as he runs people over and shoots them with guns and blows them up.
No, exactly. No, if he had just played this full psychopath.
Not just him killing people, but, you know, in the Nolan movies especially... Batman makes it clear that he doesn't like guns. Apparently, he's like a member of the NRA now. He's completely turned and loves them.
This is going to probably be a pretty lengthy review because, you know, we're going to make jokes and we're going to break it down and give you some history. Well, first I want to talk about the things I like about the movie because I don't like the movie. He doesn't like the movie. I don't hate the movie. Don't misconstrue that. I don't think it's like the worst superhero movie ever. It's like one of the worst films ever.
You know what the biggest flaw is? It's kind of forgettable.
Exactly. It's like, painfully mediocre.
Yeah.
Painfully mediocre. Like, from the beginning, you know this is going to be a mediocre movie.
Even the worst stuff in the movie, Man of Steel probably did worse.
No, I actually dislike Man of Steel much more than this for a lot of reasons.
It's a little more disappointing.
Well, Man of Steel had this hype, and then ended up being kind of this drag, and I didn't like the way it was shot, like this Terrence Malick film, and it was boring, and the second half's awful.
I'll say this about the film, more so than Man of Steel, that it elevated. I thought Man of Steel was pretentious.
Yes.
I think this movie's actually more pretentious.
It is.
And some is kind of cool. There's a thing with a painting and allegory that's... It's kind of goofy, but for this kind of movie, I actually kind of like it.
Well, like, it's like the Nolan films are pretentious, but it's how you space it.
Yeah.
Not every scene's pretentious.
Yeah.
But scenes that need to be serious.
Mm-hmm.
you make a little self-serious because
Yeah.
you have to bring levity to this comic book universe. But the problem with this movie, but we're going to talk about the good first, but the main problem I have is just to say that is that this film takes itself way too... Like, Zack Snyder thinks he's doing a tragic, like, opera. He thinks this is fucking Shakespeare.
He thinks it's Argo.
Yeah, like, they take it way too seriously. Reference. But, this gets away. I'm a huge Batman fan, man. I mean, I got the shirt, the beanie, I got a Batman tattoo, I got a Superman tattoo, love comic, played all the video games, seen all the movies. I mean, hardcore. Huge Superman fan, Wonder Woman fan. I mean, I couldn't be more pumped to see Batman and Superman on the fucking screen together. Like, that was exciting from that first trailer at Comic-Con, which was great, before that awful second trailer. Yeah. But that first trailer, man, when you saw Wonder Woman doing the thing, and Batman kicking ass, and, like, he's wearing the Dark Knight Returns outfit, it's like, this is awesome. This is going to be a cool fucking movie. And those things that you thought looked cool are pretty cool. Like, Ben Affleck is Batman. I'd give him like an A-. It's a really good performance. The Batman costume, the gadgets.
On Ben Affleck's part, I really don't have any complaints. I think he actually looks the part really well.
Me too.
I think he's like Bruce Wayne.
I think he's like maybe my favorite Bruce Wayne. Like there's at least 3 scenes where he goes to these like parties or something, and the way he acts, like this cocky.
But it's very like James Bond.
It is.
I felt like
it's James Bond with like the sinisterness beneath there.
Yeah.
And whenever he's Batman, man, there's a scene where he's like in a corner and like he's like hidden like a monster.
It's like Batman Begins when Batman's first picking off the bad guys.
No, and like, yeah, I mean, his Batcave, Alfred with Jeremy Irons, all this stuff. I mean, it's like a really good Batman movie. It's a great reintroduction of the character. I kind of just wanted to stay in his universe and watch this movie with Batman. The cinematography, I think this is one of the best shot superhero films. I mean, it's... Excluding probably the third act, I think like the first 2 acts.
Well, it's a strange compliment, but it looks very expensive.
It does.
There's just individual shots of nothing really.
Yeah.
Like Lex Luthor walking in the rain, I think, through a gate or some shit. And I was like, holy crap, this looks like a blockbuster. I'm used to Marvel where it looks like
they all look the same
blockbuster. Yeah. But this one, it really did stand out visually in a few scenes.
Well, he brought back his old cinematographer, Larry Fong, who didn't shoot Man of Steel, and I think that might have been the disconnect I have Man of Steel in a lot of ways visually, was that Schneider has a certain style, and it didn't work with what he was doing in Man of Steel. Here, he goes back to Watchmen 300, but a bit more polished. It's definitely shot on film. It has depth. The color and lighting is beautiful. All the location shooting in Kansas or what, the cities... it's a really good-looking film. I'll give it that. And pretty much all the acting's pretty decent. I mean, there's a few standout bad performances we'll get to, but Lawrence Fishburne, Amy Adams, Henry Cavill's...
It's hard to fault any one actor because I feel like all of it resides on Zack Snyder's part.
It does.
And the construction of the film itself.
And probably the first half hour, 40 minutes of the film is pretty decent. That's what's going to surprise you the most. Is from the reviews, I thought I was just going to hate this film.
Yeah, I kept hearing complaints about the first hour, actually, more than the second.
Yeah, and the first half, I mean, the opening scene with Batman, which is this dream sequence that you think is the one, is terrible.
It's everything you've seen before.
Yeah, it is.
And then a little worse.
Yeah, the comedians, his father, and it's just too dramatically, like, it's trying to be like a comic book panel. And I hate that Schneider does that because he just doesn't get it. He gets it visually, but he doesn't get it deeper than that. Like, he doesn't get why the scenes of Batman Begins work because you get a sense of the family before. You don't know these people in this movie, so he's just showing it to show it.
Think Watchmen. And how Watchmen gets the look of the comic. And brings it, which is great. I think he's brilliant at that.
He doesn't get the spirit.
But,
he doesn't get why. He's like a 15-year-old kid who likes comic books, but he never grew up.
This film's actually a spiritual successor to Watchmen.
It is.
I like Watchmen better. I actually like Watchmen quite a bit. But
Watchmen has like
more
consistency.
Like with the characters and stuff and how like the action's presented, he does the same things in this movie. I think
I do too.
It's just that with Watchmen, it's more excusable.
Watchmen had the book based off of, so he had that good story, and he just kind of fucked up parts of it.
Exactly.
This is an original script taking elements from different comic books, like The Dark Knight Returns, and some. If I said, well, I'll spoil it. Death of Superman. I mean, I'll just get out of the way. They do Death of Superman. That's really not a spoiler because they actually don't.
Trailer.
They don't actually kill Superman in the movie. They just make you think.
Surprise.
I mean, it's like a 5-minute thing. There's they retcon it immediately, so it's not worth mentioning. It's funny if they'd have kept him dead, I would have thought this was an interesting ending.
Yeah.
Kind of like for the movie, like thematically, it's sort of interesting because what's cool about this movie in the first half is it's this geopolitical film about there's this great scene after the opening that says, "The day the Earth met Superman." And it's from Batman's point of view, and you've seen the trailer, he's running at the building.
If this was a comic book arc, that would be like the first issue.
Yeah.
And that'd just be a standalone story and be great.
And I think that should be the opening of the film, is this scene, except for there's this weird part where this guy stays in a building and starts praying, and there's this religious allegory stuff that starts there. I don't know why, because Batman calls him and he's like, "Get the fuck out of the building." Yeah. You see everyone run out, and this guy's still standing there like,
"No, like,
I gotta go down with the ship."
It would be excusable
if he couldn't get off or something.
If the whole building exploded.
Yeah.
Like if Bruce called him and said, "Hey, you need to get out,"
and then it blew up right there.
Everyone there. Yeah.
That's how they should have staged it. But instead, he gets there. Really, it seems like only one guy dies. Yeah. Batman gets pissed.
Yeah, I was like, he did a pretty good job.
What sucks is the idea of the scene is so good. It's like, it's a disaster film, but from the point of view of a ground level, but it's a superhero fight going in the background. Now, they just added this in because of the complaints of Man of Steel.
Oh, it's obvious.
But this is still a really well-done scene. I think it's the most clever scene of the movie.
It sets up Bruce Wayne's character really well, I thought, and he doesn't have to be Batman, which I like.
No, but he feels like Batman.
Exactly. You get all of it without him being in the suit.
And when you see Superman just in the background, you see stuff you saw from Man of Steel where Zod's blowing up a building, and in the context of this, it's great.
It's really clever, actually, which is something I can't say for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, like that point, I'm like, I was starting on, I was kind of going to lean in and go, well, this isn't that bad of a movie. This is clever.
It's like the opening of Godzilla.
Yeah,
like
or The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
has a really good opening scene that feels right.
It kind of tricks you. We're like, hey, I'm having a good time. This is cool.
Well, like, yeah, I was really engaged. I thought Ben Affleck, like, it was really cool. It was cool to see him, like, chasing down, like, these buildings. Like, he's avoiding explosions. That Superman's fighting in the background. I was like, that's fucking awesome. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
And it makes, like, and it's so cool to think this is the day Earth met Superman, and for Bruce Wayne, it's that day. And that sets up his character so well. So when they go into this next half hour where it's back and forth between, like, Bruce Wayne being pissed off and brooding, and he wants to kick Superman's ass, and then you're cutting back to Superman going to, like, these Senate hearings, and the government's talking, it's not a bad movie.
I actually, one thing I didn't realize until just now, I kind of forgot it, it sets up a subplot with a character that was injured in the day the war met Superman. It's actually really clever how it sets it up at the beginning scene.
No, you're right, yeah.
I didn't think about it until just now. It's fun, it's obvious,
but it's stuff that should have
on how it's presented.
Paid off in the movie more if it was a better movie, but they're all inklings of good things here. So all that said, good cinematography, some good acting. It's kind of a classy movie.
One thing I liked about the movie, I noticed was about halfway in, especially, I think it was the scene with Amy Adams, Lawrence Fishburne, and Henry Cavill in the same room.
I pretty much think all the Daily Planet scenes were good. Like every time they went there.
Holy crap! There's a lot of talent in this movie.
It is.
Even if it's not a great movie, there's so much talent. It's hard not to be kind of in awe of all these people on screen together at the same time.
It's true. And Gal Gadot or whatever is Wonder Woman.
Gal Gadot.
Yeah, Gal Gadot. There's some cameos here from like Ezra Miller, who I think is really good in just 2 scenes. Yeah, but it's like it's exciting to see him.
Yeah, it's really funny. There's like. Because, Marvel actually made movies before they did Avengers.
Yeah.
This one kind of did a demo reel, so it's like, yeah, fuck you. Here's your introduction. Here's Aquaman. Here's Flash. Here's...
No, I thought the Aquaman one was the worst one.
Well, yeah, I didn't really understand the context. Because it shows him...
Because I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, me too.
It looked cool visually. Like, it looked better than I thought it would.
Me too. I actually thought Aquaman looked better than I expected.
No, it did, but it was the way they set it up. It was like, what's he doing?
He just kills somebody?
Cyborgs was my least favorite, though, probably.
Oh, God, yeah.
The Flash one, though, was cool.
I liked that one a lot. It was always Amazing Spider-Man, actually.
No, well, Ezra Miller looks like he's going to play the Flash like he should be, where he's kind of a smart-ass, like,
he kind of smirks, and then he takes out a bad guy.
And then you see electricity still flowing in the room, and I'm like, there's really one part you see him show up in this awful scene, but he shows up, and it looks like his suit's, like, made of armor. It's not just, like, a costume, and it's like, that's really cool. Okay, so... like, those are just some things, though, like, overall, like, a lot of things about this movie aesthetically and just production value-wise were really good.
Yeah. I'll say this, but there's a lot of scenes in the trailer that were made just for the trailer, and I wish they weren't, because in the movie, it made me kind of undervalue how neat some of it was.
In the costume, like, when they reveal the Robin, Jason Todd costume, then he got killed by the Joker, or when they reveal Wonder Woman in the trailer, or Doomsday even, all those things. Yeah. It really hurts the movie when you go see it.
I mean, some of the stuff, like the Doomsday, it's the last half hour of the movie.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, if you had not known about the Robin costume and he had just walked by it in the movie and you'd seen that...
I think it would have been really emotional.
No, it would have been. But it's coming and they don't... Yeah. Okay, when you see those scenes in the trailer, you think... I thought, because we talked about it, it's like, oh, they're going to really go into the Jason Todd stuff and talk about it. They don't.
That's
it. That's all that's there is in the trailer.
I thought there was going to be like kind of a character study between the two of them.
Me too.
And on that level, like, it tries to be deep and psychological.
They also like, bullshit trick you out with this Joker fake out the whole movie.
Yeah.
And it did kind of piss me off by the end. I think it was misleading in all the wrong ways.
I feel like he was really trying to be like, basically, I'm just going to say it, he basically wanted to be Christopher Nolan. But he had none of the depth of Christopher Nolan.
He doesn't have the craftsmanship. This is one of the worst. Let's get to the negative, because this movie's more bad than good. After that first 45 minutes or so, which is an adequate superhero film.
Yeah, it was fun. It actually had, I'll give this, it had a lot of momentum.
It did.
And in the second half, you're just exhausted.
No, don't get me wrong. It had bad transitions. This movie never has good transitions. No. Like, this is one of the worst movies I've seen flow scene to scene. Like, it's definitely obvious they cut, like, an hour of this movie out or something.
They had to.
It's obvious. Well, there's scenes that just, like, cut to another location, and you don't feel like that was the right scene to go to connect to the next scene that happens. Like, it's like a bunch of collection of scenes.
Once again, it does the Nolan thing where there's no establishing shot.
Yeah.
But it's jarring.
Well, Nolan creates a kind of kinetic energy and flow within cutting here and there. He has a style of his own, which Snyder's trying to do. He's trying to do that like a Dark Knight type cutting. But the problem is, like, you're jumping around to these, like, just different locations and different characters, and they kind of feel like they're all in different movies. Like, when you cut to Superman, it doesn't feel like the Batman movie you're watching. No. And then Lex Luthor feels like he's in, like, a 90s Joel Schumacher movie.
The Batman movie, I mean, it just felt like the Dark Knight, basically.
But it's good, though. You want that. You want this,
it's like a B-movie version of the Dark Knight.
I'd say it's that mixed with the Arkham game series.
It has a lot of
There's a great scene in the third act where Batman takes out these guys, and it's straight up from the Arkham game series. And
it's the scene from the commercial that was really cool.
Yeah, where he, like, jumps in and he like, disables the guns and stuff. But let me just start back to things. Jesse Eisenberg's fucking awful as Lex Luthor. This is a Razzie.
It's really disappointing, especially after, like, end of the tour, and I was like, oh man, I forgot how great Jesse Eisenberg is.
Well, I thought he was gonna play like Mark Zuckerberg. You remember that scene? You remember that scene in The Social Network? Like, it's raining.
Yeah.
It's just he's so fucking intimidating in that scene. He's never once menacing or intimidating. He plays this like Jim Carrey's Riddler. And I said this to you: if he had played Edward Nygma, the Riddler in this, and actually, because his plan is actually much more Riddler than a Lex Luthor plan. It doesn't even make sense that he's Lex Luthor's son.
He went to, like, the Ultron School of Super Plans.
No, it was. Here's the difference with this and Age of Ultron. This has a lot of the same flaws, but Age of Ultron, Whedon found a tone and still made it fun. Like, James Spader's good as Ultron, even though his plan sucks.
Yeah.
All the plot problems here aren't elevated by the movie because the movie's toneless.
I think that Ultron was a poorly constructed movie, that a lot of the content was very enjoyable. This is...
Like the scene in the cabin. Yeah. Really good filmmaking and writing.
I feel like this was the same way, but it had about half as many great scenes.
I'd say there's like six or so great scenes in this, like half a dozen. And then the rest range from
mediocre to shit.
Yeah, to shit.
Like, awful.
And, yeah, like, Jesse Eisenberg, he just comes in these scenes and he's like, hey, what's going on here? And, he's like Crispin fucking Glover. He's losing his shit.
If they didn't do it that way, if they went a young Lex Luthor type, what about Paul Dano?
Well, they need to make him creepy if he's going to be this way, but they make him cartoony. He's silly. It feels campy because it's a very serious film, and then he comes in. There's scenes where he's talking to Holly Hunter, and he's like tapping the table, and it's like, who would punch this guy in the face?
No, it's awful.
He rides a fucking motorcycle. I mean, it's really silly. I mean, I just can't get over it. The writing of Superman.
Can I say one more thing about Lex Luthor real quick?
Yeah, of course.
One thing I gotta say I felt so bad for Eisenberg because every line of dialogue he had was shit. He spoke in riddles.
No, nothing he said made sense.
It's just esoteric, pseudo-intellectual bullshit.
No, it's something where, like, if a smart guy was actually saying this stuff, I'd be like, dude, shut up, you're like a freshman in college. No, he's playing Max Landis.
He basically spoke only in the quotes that slutty girls attribute to their photos on Facebook. That was his dialogue.
I mean, I would bash him more, but he's just, like, the trailers, he looked bad. He's just fucking awful. It's what you thought. This is, like, awful.
He was just miscast, and the role wasn't thought out. That's how I feel.
His plan's stupid. Yeah. I mean, he's kind of he has one part I think's menacing with Superman. I think's actually really cool. Where he, like, holds up these photos to Superman. He's like, hey, dude, fuck you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, well, that's kind of cool, but it takes way too long in the movie for that. Because it's like they're trying to trick you that you don't think he's supposed to be a bad guy, even though you know he's a bad guy. Yeah. So it doesn't work. There's no, like... I felt like they were trying to make it a twist, and it's just stupid. He's clearly... He even, like...
I don't even know what they were going
He even kills, like, his assistant.
Yeah.
Like, he kills his, like... I'm sitting there, like...
I'm going to say that scene... It's kind of the same scene as in The Dark Knight when Rachel bros up.
Bros up. Hey, bro.
But no, it's silly in how it's done. It's actually very Joker-esque how it's executed, but I actually thought it was a cool scene.
Well, there's a lot of these metaphors for this post-9/11 world. This film's treating it, what if Superman did 9/11, and then this is the world we live in after that, and they're treating him like a terrorist.
Super jihad.
Yeah, well, it really is. It's like... And the cool thing about it is that Batman's kind of like this weird conservative NRA gun nut.
Yeah.
Who wants to kill this, like, Superman terrorist.
Like, so is Batman?
Yeah, no, like... Oh, yeah, I meant that. I meant to say Batman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mixed up.
I was kind of confused.
No, I meant to say Batman's like this NRA gun nut who saw Superman, and he's like, I gotta kill them Muslims!
Well, like in Kingdom Come with older Batman.
Yeah.
It makes sense. And he doesn't just kill people, but...
Well, there's one scene in there where Jeremy Irons talks to Bruce Wayne, and it feels like the scene you need more of in the movie, where he's like, you'll get the fever, the pain. Yeah. It'll take a good man and make you cruel. And it's like, well, that really makes sense. But that's one scene.
And Jeremy Irons, I think it's the same scene. He also says to Batman, Batman said something like, people never change or something. And Jeremy Irons says, the times have where everything changes.
Yeah, no.
And you get it even with Batman. We're like, oh, he's harder now. He's not the young Batman that's
But that's virtuous. The only scene.
Yeah, and it's not enough.
Yeah, the whole movie needed that stuff. Because here's the thing. By the point the time that Batman and Superman fight... It makes no sense why they're fighting.
They don't fight until an hour and a half into the movie, at least.
No, I mean, if you went in wanting to see them go... Like, they have one conversation that's heated, and then they have one fight that lasts 5 minutes.
Probably.
And it's a cool fight, but don't get me wrong, but here's the problem with it. They could have settled it if they would have had a 30-second conversation.
It's the high school cat fight.
Well, it makes Batman look stupid, and it makes Superman look... Like, the fact that Superman just doesn't fly up and just yell at Batman what he has to say, or the fact that Bruce Wayne won't even listen to this guy when he first lands, and he's like, hey, listen to me, I have to tell you something, I was wrong.
I mean, Superman, like, with his powers, he could just shout. I'm sure he has a super voice or something.
Oh, I know.
He's like, hey, this Luthor guy's kind of messing with us.
Yeah, but...
I think he's kind of a creep.
Well, like, Paul Dini, World's Finest, Bruce Timm and stuff, like, when they made that movie, Batman and Superman only have, like, conflict for a little while, and then they realize they have to team up. Yeah. And here, when they fight, the motivations are confusing. You don't even know why they're fighting.
No, well, you know that they're fighting because the movie's titled Batman v Superman,
and you know and you know the setup, how, like, Lex set this up. But the problem is, like... The way it's set up is like, it would be so easy for them to solve this if they just talk. It sucks because the fight that happens is cool. It's a really cool Batman scene.
I have to bring it up too, I think it's an homage to Richard Donner's Superman movies with Lex Luthor's original hideout, where it's this old like mausoleum thing, but it's out underwater. Because that's where the kryptonite rod is stored.
Yeah.
In water. I thought that was a neat homage, if that's what it was.
I mean, what just sucks is that this movie has just this really contrived writing. Like, there's a part near the end where Lois has a spear that's got kryptonite on it that Batman forged. And she needs it to kill the main bad guy, Doomsday, right? She throws it in the water so it won't hurt Superman. She leaves. Literally, Doomsday attacks a minute later. She runs back to go get it.
Yeah. Just so that she can be trapped. Just so that Superman can come save her.
I mean, think about that from a screenwriting level. That's awful.
Well,
it's just conflict for conflict.
Even with Batman and Superman's fight, it's cool, but the whole film's very repetitious.
It is.
Where, like, okay, Batman does this and he's beating up Superman. Then Superman does the same thing to Batman to beat him.
No, Zack Snyder's designed and built the worst Superman in any of the movies. This guy's bland, boring. He does the same fight moves. Yeah. Visually, Henry Cavill and the suit, it all looks great. But Snyder doesn't get Superman on any basic level. He gets Batman on an action level. Yeah. But
it was like he gets how to make a Batman movie look good, but he doesn't get the motivation on it.
I mean, let's get that way. Batman kills people. There's
a lot of people.
There's this Batmobile sequence where he just kills the fuck out of people. Like, he grabs a car and he flips it to smash another car.
You see the people inside the car and they go, and then they die.
Here's the thing, when Nolan killed people in his movies like Ra's al Ghul and he's like, I don't have to save you. It was kind of cool because it was like, or like Two-Face, he couldn't do anything else really. Yeah. Or it made sense. And here, Batman literally just goes out to killing points. Yeah. I mean, there's a part where, like, there's a grenade and he throws it back at these guys just to blow them up.
Well, it's like... That's
we were laughing. We were in the theater laughing.
I'm okay with casualties on Batman's hand.
I get that.
Yeah. And maybe you could even give that character thing where he's like, oh, I should have done better. I don't know.
Well, Batman has no morals in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's 2 Dark Knight Returns. Yeah. Because The Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller structured the story that there was a cynicism about it, where you got where Batman was at, and it was about the history of the DC comic universe. Yeah. There's no DC cinematic universe, so it makes no sense why Batman's so fucking angry and pissed.
In Dark Knight Returns, or another one that's like that too, is it's kind of a ripoff, probably, but The Death of John DeWolf, the Spider-Man one, where Spider-Man eventually wants to kill. Yeah. But the whole thing's constructed. How do we get him to that point? I can accept that, even in a movie with Batman, but introducing Batman, killing people...
Well, they need more of the Jason Todd stuff. They need more of the
So you get where he's coming from, at least?
You don't really understand why he's so vicious in this. Yeah. He just kind of is. It seems like he was always that way. Like, I never got the sense that Bruce Wayne used to be a good guy that became a bad guy.
Well, that's where Alfred should have come in. There should have been scenes of Alfred, like... You didn't used to be this way. You used to believe in...
And there's no scene like that. No, it's like...
there's a thing that's brought up where Batman brands people, which means that not only did they get raped in prison, they literally say this in the movie.
No, they do.
They get raped and then murdered in prison because Batman brands them, and he continues to do this to fuck with them? I don't know why he does it.
Mean. Yeah. He's just like
he's a jerk.
Batman could be that way in the comics. I'm a huge Batman fan. I've read, Scott Snyder, Denny O'Neil. We've read about Frank Miller. I know him. Alan Moore, Killing Joke, all that stuff. Know all the books. Bob Kane, Bill Finger created Batman. Terrific character. He used to use a gun. I know. Tim Burton's Batman killed. Batman has this moral center to where if he does these deaths, he needs to think about it. There needs to be more weight to it.
Or it should be circumstantial.
This is very gratuitous violence that just have... And here's the thing. If this was an Elseworlds type tale, like Batman versus Dracula or Gotham by Gaslight, this could have worked. This could have really worked as like its own universe thing. But the writing, the plotting, the characterization, it doesn't... There's no logic to the movie. I can't explain it, but like you're kind of sitting there going... Why is he doing this? Why are they doing this? Why
it feels like it was put in there just to look cool. It was like a 13-year-old got to make a movie. Unfortunately, the plot and narrative wasn't advanced beyond a 13-year-old's idea of how to make a movie.
I know, unfortunately.
I mean, I know everybody says about Zack Snyder, but it's true.
Well, he's an immature guy and an immature artist.
You know, it's funny. After the movie, I went to the Dollar General, and there was a copy of his Dawn of the Dead remake. And I thought, man, that's back when Zack Snyder was like... the man.
No, it was hot shit. It's just like there's no consequences or effect here because we have no setup. Like that first hour does a good job of setting up some conflict, but the second hour throws it out the window, and then the last half hour is just a big CGI spectacle.
This feels to me like a movie without a script. I know it had 2 screenwriters. I know that it was planned, but it feels like a movie where they have concepts and a loose structure that they just put together the most disjointed, hasty way you could think of.
Well, it's so weird that, like, the Chris Terrio guy who wrote Argo worked on the script, and I thought it was going to be really good, and I'm sure he worked on the scenes that are good.
I think he only wrote the Batman scenes.
Me too. I think Ben Affleck brought him in to write the good scenes.
And it shows.
But, yeah, I mean, the dream sequence in this are awful, all of them. There's one in the desert that you see in the trailer with Batman, and it looks cool. Yeah. But man, the writing, it's goofy. There's a scene where Jonathan Kent shows up. Yeah. I mean, the fight with Batman and Superman, it's all settled over the fucking name Martha. No, and it's one of the dumbest contrived scenes.
It's sad because it's almost clever.
It's a good idea.
But it's
execution.
It's like the dumb kind of clever.
Well, Superman's doing like, Martha! And
Batman's like, what?
Why are you saying Martha? No,
it's almost funny because...
Batman literally has a spear and he's going to stab him like he's Jesus. I mean, the religious allegory stuff in this is like awful.
It's really funny though because when Superman first says Martha, I think, doesn't Batman say, I don't know what you're talking about?
Yeah. he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, it's funny in this movie, a bunch of times Batman's like, dumb. Yeah. No, it's like he's dumb. And, like, Superman's just a block of wood. Like, his boss is yelling him, like, write this, and he's like, oh, okay. And he flies off. And...
Isn't there a scene that we always do this plot device, but we do it comedically, where a character says something very clearly strong in their opinion, then a character says, no, that's wrong, and the other character goes, you're right, I'm sorry.
No, there's a lot of that.
They do that kind of shit in a Hollywood movie.
Well, there's no, like, the scenes don't have any flow of setup. Like, a scene will start some way, and it won't, like, evolve organically. It'll just, like, for the plot's convenience, characters and stuff will happen. Action, like, here's Doomsday now, because you need a final action scene with Wonder Woman. And they kind of set it up and on and off.
It's about the same as Rhinoceros and Amazing Spider-Man 2.
It really is.
Actually, less, because Rhinoceros is at least established at the beginning.
No, this is, like, awful.
It's probably just as bad as Rhinoceros.
Like, Abomination CGI... I mean, Doomsday CGI said Abomination.
But it was an abomination.
It was. His CGI... The fight. I mean, Wonder Woman's cool.
Well,
but
I don't think, and I blame Man of Steel for this as much as anything. I cannot buy Abomination showing up in the universe that Zack Snyder's created. Wonder Woman, I can half get.
Even though she's like forced in here for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, and I think it sucks because I think Gal Gadot does a really good job.
Me too. I like her accent. I like her
I
look.
like how she looks. Yeah.
Me too.
I think when you see her, she does the lasso and she's like,
I like her and Ben Affleck's chemistry. No, the lasso's great. The lasso's like 10 out of 10.
But it's like 5 seconds. You're like, I want to see this.
Well, Snyder gets it visually. Like I said, like it looks awesome. Like those scenes look great.
There's no pathos.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. There's no depth. There's nothing below the surface. It's not layered.
Cool. That's all it is. And it's 2.5 hours of looking cool.
And that can kind of carry you for a while when you think back on the movie, think about the cool images, but you remember like, oh, that was kind of boring and dull and stupid.
I'm very interested in the half-hour-long R-rated cut, but it's like, I don't want to watch this movie again ever, even though it's got better scenes than Man of Steel. I'd probably watch Man of Steel first because...
Yeah.
This one was so fucking long.
It's long and disappointing.
We went to the theater, we got there at 4. We didn't get up like...
Oh, I know.
7:30.
No, it felt like forever.
I mean, Jesus.
No, I was getting tired. I was getting like, no, the ending of this movie is Return to the King, where there's like 8 endings. It's like, will you just fucking wrap this up? Please. It sucks because once again, the movie looks so, there's like the last shot, like it's stupid, but it looks so good. Like the special effects.
One thing he gets wrong too is that he makes Batman like supernatural.
That's true.
There's a scene with the Flash, I think you brought up earlier.
Yeah.
Ezra Miller sucks. Ezra is like nothing, and he's really cool.
Batman sees the Flash in a dream sequence,
and it tells him
about the future. Yeah, and it's like,
which means, is Batman a psychic then?
That's the thing. Because here's the thing: this would make sense with the Flash showing up because like he ripped through time.
Yeah,
but it's in a dream sequence, so it's stupid.
Also, I mean, I'm just gonna say like, if there's a Flash movie out, you'd understand.
Yeah, you don't know who this guy is,
there and then never have Flash again in the movie except for like security cam footage.
Oh, I know.
But then there's also the scene at the end.
No, I think Flash could have helped this movie.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah, I think Ezra Miller could have saved half this movie. If
all the lights turn off in a prison cell, and then like all these people are just gone, and Batman's just been like 2 seconds of downtime, and then he just leaves out of nowhere. It's like, I can accept a lot of things with Batman. He can't walk through walls.
No, some of that stuff's just plain retarded.
It doesn't make sense. It's Jason Voorhees.
I just can't be that way. Like, even in comic books and the games, it's like...
No, I've never seen it.
It's just stupid. Batman can just, like, teleport.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, wait, how did he get here this way?
You know what really sucks for me, though? I think Ben Affleck's a really cool choice as Batman.
Me too.
But I was really excited to see Batman with like supernatural stuff in it, or more fantasy elements.
Yeah, we've never seen a DC film like this before, with action like this before.
Yeah, but you don't want it. It doesn't make sense when they're fighting Doomsday. It's just stupid.
Well, it's not. It's really not them fighting a giant monster. It's just the way it's done. It's a lot of execution. It's like, is it cool to see Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman together as the Trinity and fight again? Yeah, it is cool. It is cool. But like in the movie, it's so stupid why they're doing it.
I don't want to say it feels like a cartoon because they have really great, like, Mask of Phantasm and stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
That stuff is more sophisticated than this movie. Even if the animation we can consider dated or whatever today, I still think it looks good, but...
I think all those animated movies are more sophisticated than this. I think pretty much, like, every Batman property thing that's like a video game or cartoon is better than this movie in that way, story structure. Asylum. Yeah, much better written.
I mean, it's kind of embarrassing.
No, it's embarrassing
how much it had to draw from.
And this is like a script that feels like a first draft. I mean, it really does. It's a good first draft, but you need to do like 5 or 6 rewrites and polish it. And it's just like, okay, we have a script, let's go film.
Yeah.
And by the last 20 minutes, it just, I mean, I think the last 20 minutes are like awful.
Well,
it's like just it's just destruction porn. It's like Man of Steel.
Yeah, I mean, what it boils down to is they just have to give the rights to DC movies to Marvel.
Yeah, I know.
Well, no, it's funny.
Well, why is Zack Snyder running your cinematic universe? Why is he doing Justice League? Why is he doing? He doesn't have the chops for this. He doesn't understand these characters. He doesn't understand this world. I know people are like, he's a fan, he reads comics. I know a lot of people read comics that are shallow and don't know what the fuck the comics are about. Like, just because you read Moby Dick doesn't mean you fucking got it. That doesn't mean this guy should direct this shit.
Well, before Man of Steel, he really wasn't, like, hot property or anything. He was kind of falling off the map as far as I was aware.
He pretty much had 300 and then bombs.
Yeah.
Like Watchmen bomb.
Yeah, I don't know how that Owl movie did, but Watchmen, Sucker Punch.
Yeah, no, like...
I mean, the guy was pretty much on his way out the door.
Hack Schneider.
Yeah.
That's what the nickname came from.
Then he gets Man of Steel, and I was excited for him. Those
I thought the trailers
were beautiful.
They were amazing.
Like some of the best trailers
in the last decade.
10 years.
Yeah.
And
Christopher Nolan was producing.
And I was so excited. I was like, this is his comeback, and he's going to bring Superman back with him. Then you see the movie, and it blows.
Oh, it's boring.
And then with this movie, I thought, well, maybe he'll do better. I'll be more entertained. Like, watching where it's flawed, but fun. And I don't want to say he did a worse job, but it makes me dislike him more than Man of Steel. In the sense, it's like, you had 2 fucking chances,
I think Snyder. This is his least complete film. Like, even Sucker Punch, I think, makes more sense for what he was trying to do. This, I don't really get what they were trying to do. There's too many ideas crammed into one movie.
Yeah, I mean, it really is Michael Bay syndrome. I think it's better made than a Michael Bay movie.
But this isn't far off from Transformers.
No.
Like, when people try to criticize Avengers for being shallow, this is way more like...
Yeah.
Because the thing is, when this movie's serious and then they throw in some cartoony dumb bullshit, it feels so forced. It's not organic to the universe. Like, you show Batman kill people and then they fight a giant CGI monster.
Yeah, like, I'm not a huge fan of Avengers or anything, but...
No, me neither. I don't think
it's a cohesive, enjoyable popcorn movie.
Well, we didn't know what tone was, and Snyder doesn't... I don't even know if he has a concept of tone, because all of his movies kind of have weird tones.
Tone, pacing, structure.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I can't emphasize the transitions and editing in this. They're awful.
If you thought Dark Knight had 4 acts, this has about 6.
This movie has no flow.
No.
It's like, here's 20 minutes of one kind of movie. Here's a half hour of another kind of movie. Here's an hour of one kind of movie.
The movie begins, and it feels like the second act of a thriller.
It does.
And then, the thing is, though, by getting an hour in, you're worn out.
No, it's too much.
And then, like, by the second hour over, you're like, shit.
Were you like me where it took, like, way too long to get the pieces moving, too? Like, by the point we get to Batman and Superman actually meeting, it's like, why did this take so long?
It starts up with them, like, kind of pissed at each other.
No, there's a really fun scene with the two of them at this party where they're talking shit to each other.
And then you think, oh, it's gonna keep going. And at that point, I was still enjoying the movie.
That's pretty much the only scene they have together.
Yeah, it's insane. By the time that they actually meet up, it's...
I know. No, and no, there's some really tense moments, like after that Batmobile chase. There's a scene where, like, Batman turns a corner, Superman's just standing there, and they both look at each other, and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And, like, Superman's telling him, like, hey, you're done. Stop your shit.
No, there's a few badass lines in the movie.
There is,
and Superman gets one, he's like, consider this mercy.
No, and there's a great line, I think it was from Dark Knight Returns, but there's a scene where Batman's like, hey, you're not brave, only men are brave.
Yeah.
And then he beats the shit out of Superman.
During the Batman Returns fight.
Yeah, and it's a really cool, like, well, shit, that's a cool line.
There's a shot of Batman with a snare. It's the same exact shot.
Yeah, it's a scene
from
Dark Knight Returns, yeah.
But he does it, and he shoots a tracker onto a truck. Which I don't know why he shoots on the door where it'd be visible. You'd think he shoot on the roof, but that's a nitpick.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
Yeah, it just bothered me. Anyhow. But no, that's just really cool.
It is. No, all the Batman stuff's, like, really cool. It's like, this is a cool little, like, Ben Affleck's Batman movie I'm really excited to watch.
It really makes me wonder, like, the Batman movies that I dislike the most, like Batman Returns, I was like, do I dislike that more because it's not structured like Batman?
It's true.
Because it is kind of an infallible structure.
Well, Tim Burton doesn't get Batman. And Zack Snyder, he gets Batman on a lot of levels, like, aesthetically and superficially.
Well,
like
Tim Burton focused on the villains, whereas, like, Zack Snyder just focused on Batman, which I think is kind of gimmicky in the way that, like, okay, here's a Superman movie, didn't do well, so let's throw Batman in it. But the execution is like, it does work.
Well, they try to act like this is an organic thing they set up in Man of Steel with them destroying all the buildings, and that's so...
No, it's obvious that
they're like, hey, we have an island here, and nobody's on it, it's uninhabited. They do it like 3 times, like they have the government be like, there's nobody at this location where they're blowing up buildings.
And the thing is that I don't think is that I don't think fans are complaining that there were casualties or civilian casualties. It's that it was handled... without responsibility.
Superman never seemed to care.
Even the action itself wasn't necessary. Even if there's no casualties in Man of Steel, the action scenes would still be at half an hour too long.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of action for the sake of it.
And that's what this movie is.
By the point of Man of Steel that he fights Zod, and it's like a Dragon Ball Z, like it's like the 10th fight in the movie. Yeah. It's like, dude, just stop, Zach. You're like, God damn it.
And that's how this is with Doomsday. I think it's a little better because, I mean, Batman fighting Superman, it's more exciting than him fighting Zod again.
It is.
But...
it does suck. Like, the Batman-Superman fight feels like this big moment, and then they just do kind of ruin it with the whole, like, Doomsday thing in the last 20 minutes.
I think they should have just done a team-up movie, like, the first half hour.
I think they should have just done Trinity, the comic book, where Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman meet for the first time. They have to team up to take out a bad guy. Instead, that happens in the last, like, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And before that...
when they're fighting together, it's like a really fun, cheesy movie.
But before that, it's this disjointed mess of, like... oh, another big compliment, I forgot we even got to bring it up. Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL do the score. The guys do the master. Score's fucking awesome.
It's too good for the movie.
It is.
It's weird to say it hurts the movie because the score's distractingly better than the scenes it's
I think the score's like a 10. I mean, I think this is like the best Hans Zimmer score. I like this better than the Nolan scores.
For a superhero movie, especially because a lot of them have kind of generic.
You don't really hear them. This score's like. It's electronic Hans Zimmer.
But it's like operatic.
It is.
The score is what you want the movie to be.
No, the score is
like
so
almost in the
cool.
Score tonight, and I'll probably get the feeling that I wanted to feel.
I didn't even know the score was going to be good like this. I went in like whatever, and I was like, shit, this score is awesome.
Well, I figured Hans Zimmer would do it.
Yeah.
Junkie X was like, oh, cool.
But the Man of Steel score, like, I only kind of remember.
Yeah.
This score's like, somewhere it's like, man, this probably deserves an Oscar nom. I mean, I go that far, like, it's the best part of the movie like that and the visuals. It's like, well, shit, this is really good. But, yeah, like he said, it's a score for a better movie. Like, it's a score you wish, like, Dark Knight Rises had or
Civil
something.
War.
Yeah, Civil War, which is probably going to have a really generic score.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
We got this royalty-free music we could use in the new blockbuster.
I mean, it sucks because, all those elements, there's, like, a good little short Batman film in here. And then this mediocre Superman film, and then this awful superhero film outside of that.
I mean, the biggest thing with the movies is just never entertaining enough. I mean, it's almost hard to criticize other than the obvious.
It is funny to talk about because the movie's so dull.
Yeah, like
I can't be passionate one way. I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
But then when I saw Man of Steel, when I first saw it, I thought, well, this is probably like a 6. It's kind of okay-ish, but it's really just. But then the next day, I was like, God, fuck that shit.
No, well, like
there's a point in this movie, even watching the first time, where it was like, what the fuck am I watching?
Well, this sucks because there's scenes in here that are cool that I want to rewatch, but I don't want to rewatch the movie. I guess we'll go into the last call. I just want to say I'm sorry if this review is kind of all over the place. That's kind of how the movie was. Like, to talk about one element, you got to talk about, like, 30 other things. Like, it's just kind of a mess. Like, that's the way I'll summarize it. It's just a mess. Like,
well, it's hard to talk about the movie as a whole because I don't think there is an entire movie there.
Yeah, it's really Zack Snyder's sloppiest film. I mean, it's sloppier than Sucker Punch, and I hate saying that, but, like, it's a mess. It's like you have a good scene, then a bad scene, a good scene, then a bad scene. I'll give my last call. It just sucks. I really love Batman. I was really hoping. I thought the second trailer was really cool. I thought this was going to pull through. Or the Comic-Con trailer, that one that was like the 5-minute one. I thought that was so cool.
I lost count of the trailers.
I thought, man, when it started, I thought, man, this might not be as bad as people are saying.
Yeah, I was really hopeful at the beginning.
Yeah, it's actually a really fun little movie, and then, man, it just has too many flaws. Like, you can't overlook the flaws. It's just, by the end, it's just like one of the most flawed, kind of crappy, poorly thought out superhero films in the last couple of years, and it tries to tie in so much of this DC cinematic universe that it doesn't just stop and be its own fucking movie. It can't just be Batman versus Superman. Wasn't that enough? Do we need Wonder Woman? Do we need The Flash? Do we need these side characters? Do we need Lex Luthor? Can we just have Batman and Superman meet for the first time? Wasn't that a big enough fucking event for a movie? Wasn't that enough to develop characters and story and have them talk? I mean, for that reason alone, they just overcomplicated this for the sake of it. They were just lazy with this whole movie. There's so much laziness here with all this good craft. At the end of the day, a lot of the problems here are minor fixes. There's stuff that, like, I could have fixed if I was on the set. You know what I mean? Like, 5-minute rewrites of scenes. I mean, it's late. I mean, like, I can't explain how awful the Batman Superman Martha moment is. It's like, you could have fixed that on the set. Ben Affleck should know better. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing when all these people are working on this big budget movie with all this craft to it, and then you do these stupid things that, like, are amateur hour stuff. I mean, like, a film student would make mistakes like these. These are awful amateur's mistakes. WB should be, attacked for this. Zack Snyder should be attacked for this. Everyone who worked on this, even the people who did the good work, should have known that there was problems here. They should have held this film back a few months and tried to fix it. As it is now, it's just kind of a mess. It's just kind of like I said at the beginning, it's a painfully mediocre film. You're never pissed, but you're consistently disappointed. And in a lot of ways, that's worse, because having a non-feeling is almost like something that's more painful down the road than being mad or happy. So, it's tough. I'm going to give it like a C-, a C. I don't think it's a horrible movie. I don't think it's like one of the worst superhero films ever made. I don't think it's like Elektra or Wolverine or any of that stuff, but it's just kind of shitty, It's just kind of shitty with good moments. I was going to say to him, it's like, it's not a good movie with bad scenes, it's a bad movie with good scenes. But it's still a bad movie. So, yeah, a C. I mean, go see it if you want to see it, but, I mean, if you thought it looked bad and you thought you were going to be disappointed, you will. Just don't go see it. Like, if you didn't like those trailers, you didn't like Jesse Eisenberg, just wait for the DVD. Because I pretty much wasted my time in the theater. I could have saw this on DVD and been just as happy.
Yeah, I feel mostly the same way. I think one thing I try to think about when I see a movie is there's some movies like maybe Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's well made. It's not for someone like me. That doesn't make it a bad movie necessarily.
You get why other people like it.
But then there's movies that you're watching and you think, who is this made for? Because if it's made for comic book fans, I don't think they're gonna like it. If it was made for kids, I don't think you should take your kid to go see it.
Or film buffs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it appeals to a general audience. It's like it was made without vision, I really think, or it was made with like a kaleidoscope of visions of what it should be. I think that there's a lot of good in it, like, and it kind of makes it a worse movie because of that.
It's true.
But you could enjoy 5 minutes, and there's 20 minutes of lag, and it's a really frustrating, complicated movie in the sense that your ex-girlfriend's complicated and you don't want to deal with her shit.
Well, it feels like you're watching this complex, deep film, but it's really stupid.
Yeah. It's like the musings of a retard.
Yeah, but it's like, you don't get why it feels complex because you're sitting there like, this is dumb.
So, ultimately, I'm going to give it about the same grade as Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I think it's actually quite a bit better of a movie.
Yeah.
It's just that I give Amazing Spider-Man 2 a much worse rating now.
Yeah, I get that.
So I give it like a D+, because I'd say the D's range for like bad movies, but a D+, like, it could have been an adequate C.
Yeah.
With a lot of trimming. If they cut half an hour, I'd give it a C, probably.
I mean, my thing with the C is, like, if you're a hardcore Batman geek like me, like, if you're obsessed with Batman, there's some scenes here, if you're a Batman fan, you've always wanted to see. That was pretty much it for me. Like, if Batman wasn't in this movie, I would...
it'd be like a D-.
Yeah, I would have hated this.
It might have been an F.
But, like, Ben Affleck comes in and, like... It is kind of fun to see Batman in a movie again. Yeah. We haven't seen him for a while.
I was surprised, so I thought I'd have fatigue from the Nolan movies.
No, and it was cool.
And it was immediate. I was like, I don't really care.
Yeah, I miss Batman.
Yeah. I could have a Batman movie come out every year because I think Batman... There's some things I don't think you should continue. Like, Star Wars is debatable whether you should continue making Star Wars movies or not in the way they are. For me, Batman, though, is like...
Well, there's so many stories we gotta see. We gotta see Clayface movies and you know,
there's so much unexplored territory in Batman that it'd be a shame not to have more
supernatural elements in a Batman movie.
Yeah, there's so much that hasn't even touched on yet. But, unfortunately, this shows you a little bit of it, but it doesn't do what you hope.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not giving up on the DC universe. I still think the Flash and Batman movie can be good, but I'm pretty much done with the Superman movies. Yeah. I'm done with Zack Snyder. I don't think Justice League's going to be good. I think this is a mess. I think WB doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
I think they should let Ben Affleck do the Batman movie if that's the direction they're going. I think Suicide Squad probably is going to be good.
Yeah, I actually have more hope in it now that I saw this.
But as far as Zack Snyder goes, I'm like, fire him. He's worthless.
Well, Man of Steel underperformed. Nobody liked it. All the flaws of this movie, you could have hired a better director and he probably could have fixed all these problems. Like, it's Will Shaw, but I'm sorry, that's a cinematographer. Zack Snyder's good with visuals. I don't give a shit. Like, let him go be a director of, like, music videos.
I mean, if Jon Favreau left Marvel after Iron Man 2, I mean, I'd say Zack Snyder did just about as bad of a job on these two movies.
Well, he keeps trying to be David Fincher. Yeah. He thinks he's David Fincher, and he doesn't get why David Fincher movies are good. Like, if David Fincher directed this, it would have been badass. Yeah. But Zack Snyder comes and he's like, I'm cool like David Fincher, but he doesn't get that David Fincher's like an intellectual that adds all these really interesting things to these movies and focuses psychology. This, like, we're not lying when we say this is like a 15-year-old kid's version of this stuff. It's like a 15-year-old kid watched Dark Knight, and he's like, I can do that.
I mean, yeah, I don't really know what to say about the movie. It's just kind of fucked up. Yeah. It's not as bad as the haters say. It's not as good as the fanboys say, is how I feel.
Yeah, you're going to have to come to your own conclusions, but I think the flaws are kind of hard to ignore.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously everybody has the right to their own opinion.
Yeah, but, of course.
You know, if you don't agree with ours, you're just wrong.